Good evening, everybody. It's Sean here. I hope that you're doing great this Sunday night in Canada. It's Family Day long weekend, so we don't have to work tomorrow. I'm not gonna. I learned my lesson last November. I got a little burnt out. I should have really taken that extra day, Remembrance Day. Lesson learned. So here we go. It's another Sunday night, time for a little poetry. So I'm going to sort of stick to the theme of doing some Frank O'Hara. Excellent poet, a lot to explore. I don't really know him all that well. I've read some of this, I haven't really studied it in depth. I'm just going to, I think every Sunday I'm going to do this, do a little poetry. People don't talk about poetry anymore. It's sort of a dead art in terms of its penetration into sort of the public imagination. But when you look out at the things that do dominate the public conversation and sort of the water cooler talk, you have all this what I think is really kind of junk right now in the theaters and on the TV and on Netflix and stuff like this. Some of it is good. Like I kind of like some Black Mirror and a few other things, but a lot of it really isn't all that good. A lot of good artists and stuff aren't really working, I don't think, in Hollywood anymore, or even in TV. I don't even know where the hell they are working. I think most of them are actually working non in art in some ways. I think that's what I feel when I look at some of these things and I say, ugh, who made that? Who greenlighted that idea? And I know it's tough to get these things made, but in the same breath, you look at something like, some of these things are just hagiographies, like South Side with You, the Barack Obama is a saint picture, and there's a whole bunch of stuff like that on Netflix as well. So anyways, this is a bit of an antidote to that. Culture that doesn't have substance is going to be replaced with something that does have substance, even if it's talking about certain topics from time to time in a very campy, fun tone. Because camp is now dead. That's like illegal to make fun of certain of these things, right? Anything with a sense of humor is sort of illegal, unless it's approved. Unless we have our approved topics, which are like white men, Christianity. Those are things you can make fun of. But anyways, I digress. So here's Frank O'Hara. Title: On Seeing Larry Rivers' Washington Crossing the Delaware at the Museum of Modern Art. Now that our hero has come back to us in his white pants, and we know his nose, trembling like a flag under fire, we see the calm, cold river supporting our forces, the beautiful history. To be more revolutionary than a nun is our desire, to be secular and intimate, as, when sighting a redcoat, you smile and pull the trigger. Anxieties and animosities, flaming and feeding on theatrical considerations and the jealous spiritualities of the abstract. The robot? Their smoke billows above the physical event. They have burned up. See how free we are as a nation of persons. Dear father of our country, so alive, you must have lied incessantly to be immediate. Here are your bones crossed on my breast like a rusty flintlock, a pirate's flag, bravely specific. And ever so light in the misty glare of a crossing by water, in winter to a shore, other than that the bridge reaches for. Don't shoot until, the white of freedom glinting on your gun barrel, you see the general fear. Sort of funny, like I think Frank O'Hara was sort of from a generation that was, call it just before the hippies. I think he died before hippies was truly a broadly cultural thing, but he wasn't really a beatnik either. He was sort of in his own scene. He hung out with a lot of painters and stuff, but it's just sort of funny that there is this vaguely patriotic feeling to that poem, which was probably sort of out of fashion then and would soon become very, very out of fashion. And then also, like, a thing that I think is sort of amazing though is that, yeah, that would become out of fashion, but at the time there's this feeling of total radical freedom in the poem, which is sort of like has something to do with Washington fighting for freedom, and essentially the whole, think of that whole milieu when it was a colony, or 13 colonies that were at war with the world's greatest power and fighting for their freedom. But yeah, I mean, it was more complex than that. Of course, there was terrible issues with slavery and any other number of things, but they were sort of out on their own, weren't they? And from that period of definitely of physical violence, there was born this incredible experiment in democracy and freedom. Which was by no means a perfect experiment, but is definitely unequaled in that regard, in terms of being a massive experiment in the concept of freedom and democracy. Anyways, so sort of an interesting aspect to a poem. Most of these poems are fairly aesthetic, and you can sort of see how he kind of cottons on to these things. I mean, talking about, let's see, this is a great line. And ever so light in the misty glare of a crossing by water in winter to a shore. That's a beautiful mood there. Ever so light in the misty glare of a crossing by water in winter to a shore. Other than that, the bridge reaches for. And of course, we all know this painting, what it looks like, right? Where there's Washington sort of with one leg up on a boat, getting rowed across this sort of icy, wintry river. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna keep working away at these and keep reading some with you. And drop me a line if you have any thoughts or anything you'd like to add. I mean, I haven't done any reading on Frank O'Hara. I haven't read any criticism, because that would just kill it, because critics take all the fun out of everything. And so I'm not really taking too serious of an approach to this. I'm just reading it, thinking about it, and talking about it. And yeah, anyways, so there it goes. But one thing that I thought I would also do is just take a quick look at some Basho. So Basho, I think it's safe to say, is most famous for doing haiku. This is a book called The Narrow Road to the Deep North and Other Travel Sketches. So some of it is actually in prose, and some is in various forms of poetry. There's a few different styles. But what I'll do is I'll just flip. We'll do a poem at random. Okay, page 66. Not to mention the beauty of its snow, Mount Tsukuba shines forth in its purple robes. Not to mention the beauty of its snow, Mount Tsukuba shines forth in its purple robes. Not to mention the beauty of its snow. It's funny because, it's like saying, picture a pink elephant. Even though a pink elephant doesn't exist, you are starting to picture it. When you say not to mention its beautiful snow, you're thinking already of the snow. And then, from there, the beauty of its robes. Interesting. Let's see. I'm flipping a little more. Here's another one, page 118. A thicket of summer grass is all that remains of the dreams and ambitions of ancient warriors. I caught a glimpse of the frosty hair of Kanafusa wavering among the white blossoms of Unohana. Just see what those mean. 57. Kanafusa was a faithful old retainer of Yoshitsune. He fought very bravely in spite of his old age. Anyways, always good to read something a little different, a little new from kind of this dusty old book. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what poetry you're reading or thinking about, or if you're writing any. That would be great. I hope that you are, and I hope that you're having fun, and I thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your night. Bye now.